everybody, welcome to another session of Tony Talks right here on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I am Tony215. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at I am Tony215. Today on Tony Talks, what is masculinity in the gay community? What is masculinity in the gay community? Today on Tony Talks, I wanted to discuss, or I wanted to explore what is masculinity in the gay community. You know, masculinity is something that is widely sought after in the gay community. Everybody wants a man or a person that's masculine, but the problem is not all of us are exuding masculinity or what we would consider as masculine, you know, based on our society. I want to know, in the gay community, since you know, masculinity is something that everybody wants. Because, you know, you go to the site, you see everybody's, they say, I want somebody that's masculine, not femme. And so, you know, you ask a lot of gay men, you know, they want a masculine man. Everybody wants, you know, masculinity. But not everybody's giving off masculinity. So I want to know, like, what is masculinity in the gay community? Like, when you say, I want someone that's masculine, what is that expectation? Is it the same across the board? You know, do we all have the same view and opinion of what masculinity is? Some people would say masculinity is about how you dress, about how you act, about behaviors. You know, do you act like a man? Do you dress like a man? You know, once upon a time, men wore dresses. You know, once upon a time, men wore high heels. So, you know, back in those days and those times, it wasn't, you know, uncommon to see a man dressed that way. And it was, you know, accepted in those times. But, you know, as time has changed and as society has changed, the mindset, the expectations have changed over the years. So now the question is, what is exactly masculinity? Because, you know, we see in the gay community, we have, you know, some men, for instance, the gentleman that was at the Oscars, you know, he had on the tuxedo / gown, you know. And the question is that masculine? You know, would you consider an outfit of that nature masculine? I don't know if I have a picture of it. Do I have a picture of it? Right. Yeah, this picture right here. Like, is this masculine? That's the question. So if you're familiar with the gay community, there's a term that we have called femme, F-E-M. And a lot of gay men do not like femme or feminine men that have feministic characteristics or behaviors. So I want to know, in the gay community, like, what do you consider feminine behaviors? You know, what do you consider femme? You know, a lot of people associate it with how a man dresses. Does he wear extensions? Does he wear makeup? Does he wear eyeliner? Does he wear bronzer? Does he do things that you would find that a woman would do? These days, men have capes, and men are dressing in, these one-piece outfits, and, fashion has definitely changed. But, question is, does it exude masculinity? Is it masculine? And if it isn't, and everybody wants masculinity, then why are we doing the opposite of what we all would consider masculine? When I think of masculinity, I think of, some Polo cologne. I think of, he got some Timbs on, I'm thinking, he got some jeans, a nice polo shirt, got a, it's a dude, it's a man, got a swag about him, I'm just saying, like, that's what I think of when I think of masculinity. When I think of masculinity, I don't think of it in the regards of a man wearing a tuxedo and a gown. To me, that's not masculine. I don't think it's masculine to carry a purse or what they call a man bag. I don't think that's masculine. And to each his own, if that's what you do, if that's how you express yourself, that's fine and dandy. But, everybody has the right to have their preference. Everybody has a right to like what they like and not like what they don't like. So you can't really, hold people to how you want to present yourself. And if, very few people see what you do as masculine, you can't be upset, if people reject you. But the question is, what is masculinity in the gay community? When a gay man says that I prefer a masculine man, what does that entail? What are the details of that? So let's talk about that. Let's comment on that. Let's figure out what is masculine in our community. So I guess we'll have a blueprint, because a lot of men don't exude masculinity. I see men with capes on and, wearing high heel boots and all these things that, I would find, in my mom's closet. That's not masculine to me. But, that might be masculine to some people. So what is masculinity? And, how do we handle, the major differences of opinion in our community about masculinity? Because everybody is looking for that masculinity, a masculine man. So I'm confused. Because there's always these dynamics, these so many different dynamics in the gay community. Some men would associate masculinity and femininity even with conversation on how a man pronounces his words, how a man expresses himself when he's speaking. Some men, a girl, child, honey, boo, is that masculine? You have those men that are like girl, child, honey, is that masculine? I mean, some men talk like that when they get around their friends, but when they're with their dude, they don't talk like that. So is that masculine? What is masculinity in the gay community? Because I'm lost. So can you help me out, please? Can you help us all out? Oh, I was talking to a viewer the other day, And the viewer said that there are no masculine bottoms. He's a top and he wants a masculine bottom. And so I asked him, like, okay, well, what is a masculine bottom? And so, his response was, a man that dresses like a man, he acts like a man, he talks like a man, he walks like a man, but he identifies himself as a full bottom. So my new question is, are there any masculine bottoms? And when they say the term masculine bottom, what is that? Like, what would you consider a masculine bottom? And if that's a question, then the next question is, are all bottoms, all men that are considered bottoms, or they consider themselves bottoms, are they feminine? Do people in the gay community think that men that identify themselves as full and complete bottoms, are they considered feminine? Or are they masculine? Because according to this gentleman, the viewer, he's basically saying that there are no masculine bottoms. So basically all the men that identify themselves as bottoms are feminine. Is that true? Do you think that that is true? And so my next question to him was, well, what about the men that are verse? Are they any different? Do they act any different? Do they dress any different? So the next question is there a difference between a verse man and a man that identifies himself as a total bottom? Is there a difference in the behaviors? Is there a difference in the way that they present themselves? Is it a difference in the way they talk, in the way they dress? Is there a difference? Then the next question is tops. Is there a difference in the behaviors between tops and men that identify themselves as verse and men that identify themselves as bottoms? Do all three of these different groups of men act and dress differently? So a viewer said that I always ask the questions, but I never give my own personal answer. And I always thought that I gave my own personal answer. So I'm gonna make sure I answer this one. Do I think that there are any masculine bottoms? I would say yes. I think that there are some masculine bottoms. Masculinity really is determined by the norms in our society. We are conditioned in our society, in the society that we live in today. We are conditioned to expect a man to present himself, in some tennis shoes, some jeans, a nice shirt, maybe, some nice slacks, some nice shoes. We have men's clothing and we have women's clothing. And this is the world that we live in. This is the society that we live in. And so therefore, we have these expectations of a woman and we have these expectations of a man. And I don't really think that's ever going anywhere, because that's the society that we live in. Unless you, move to another country, or unless you're just walking around, in a very small group of people with a different mindset, of what masculinity is, of what it is to be a man, what it is to be a woman, then that's cool too. And, that's what'll happen. But, the idea of a man is, and, wearing a suit, wearing a tie, just acting like a man, I guess, talking like a man. And it's hard to put it in words because, you know, you just do it naturally, you know. But I think the expectation is going to always be there because that is the society that we live in. In our society, this is the blueprint of a man, you know. And based on that, that's what we expect. You know, that's what we're looking for. You know, and if I wanted to, you know, date a man, or if I wanted someone with long hair and I wanted someone that wore, you know, heels and stuff like that, I would go get a woman. Do I think that there are any masculine bottoms? Yes. You know, gay men come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, religions. I mean, you know, it's a variety of gay men. So to say that all men that are complete total bottoms are feminine or have feminine behaviors, I would say that's wrong. Do I think that there's a difference between the behaviors of a top, a man that's verse, and a man that's bottom? There could be in some cases. In a lot of cases there are. In a lot of cases there are. But to say that you know, that's fitting for everybody, I would say no. You know, a good question is, are there any femme, what we consider femme in the gay community, are there any femme tops? Can a man that is considered femme, can they be a top? Now, that's a tough one, because, you know, a lot of a lot of bottoms would say, hell no. There, a lot of bottoms would not, a lot of men that are bottoms would not let a man that's femme top them. And I want to know, like, what's up with that? Like, would you, if you are a man that identifies himself as a bottom, would you allow a man that's femme or considered femme, would you allow them to top you? And I know a lot of bottoms would say no. They want a masculine man. They want a man that's masculine. So then the next question to the men that are bottoms is, do you feel like you are masculine? Do men that identify themselves as complete and total bottoms, do you feel that you are masculine? Or do you feel that you're femme? Are there any men that are femme and are verse? You know, can a man that's femme be verse? And then, you know, some people have the argument, I've heard it so many times, you know, the want and the desire for masculinity is a feminine behavior. That's what some people would say. And I refute that. I don't believe that. I just think that's a poor defense for their insecurity of what they like. You know, some people are insecure about what they like in our community. You know, some people are insecure about, you know, considering themselves a complete bottom. And, you know, some men will say that they're, you know, verse just to not, you know, admit that they are complete bottoms. You know, they prefer to be on the bottom. I will say this. I do believe that there is a difference in treatment being a top and dating men that are complete bottoms. I have found in my own personal journey that they don't necessarily treat me the way that I would like to be treated. And I don't know if that's attributed to the fact that they're always, you know, receiving, and men are always trying to give to them, to get from them, you know, and they forget that in a relationship, you have to also give back, and not just sexually, but, you know, emotionally, and, you know, just in all other aspects of a relationship. You know, and I have found that men that were verse, men that were tops, that, you know, we've gone out, but we didn't discuss our positions until later. But until that point takes place, I have found that they treat me better, or treat me the way that I would want to be treated, and I find it really difficult to find bottoms that would treat me the way that I like to be treated. Now, I will say that that is an issue that I've run into personally. So I know somebody's gonna ask me the question, would you date a femme man? I have dated some men that were not, in my opinion, 100% completely masculine. There were some feminine characteristics, some feminine aspects about them. But then again, don't you think we all have some type of feminine characteristic about ourselves, especially men being the exact replicas of their mothers? And the fact that, technically we all start out really as women. So, I don't know, does that play a role in, or should that play a role in our expectations of masculinity and femininity? I probably would not date a man that, wore capes and robes and high heel boots and wore, carried like purses and bags and all that stuff. I would not date a guy like that. A guy like that in the past? No, never dated a guy to that extreme measure. To each his own. Be yourself, embrace yourself, but don't be upset when others don't embrace what you embrace. Is masculinity and femininity, is that also influenced by media in our society? The thing that bothers me is when people that outside of the gay community, when they think of gay, they think of feminine. They think of a man being flamboyant, wearing dresses, wearing wigs and makeup and all that stuff. And that's just a small aspect of the community. There are men that do that. But does that represent the entire community? Does that represent what, society says is gay? The term gay is gonna always be around. It's never going anywhere. This is a term that people have, that they use to label, a group of people for whatever reasons. We all label stuff, we all name things. Everything needs a name, so we have an understanding of it. If we don't name it, then we don't understand it. It's like when we find a new species of animal, the first thing we do is we give it a name, and then once we give it a name, then we start to research it and look at it. So I don't know, it's just something about the human nature is to label something, to give it a name, and then we begin to explore, like exactly what it is. So in our society, when people say, gay or homosexuality, they think of feminine, and that's just not true. Gay men are not feminine. Yes, there are gay men out there that may have some feminine behaviors. They may do some feminine things or some questionable things, but at the end of the day, gay does not associate with femininity. It just doesn't. And so I personally think that it does, media does play a major role in what we consider femme, what we consider masculine, because like directors like Lee Daniels, he recently found a gentleman off Instagram, and decided that he wanted to make him a gay superhero, but this guy's walking around with pink high heel boots on, and the boots come all the way to the knees, and that he's not presented himself in the most masculine of ways. And I want to know, do you think the gentleman from Instagram, the gay superhero, the gentleman that Lee Daniels picked for his next movie as Super Bitch. Do you think he's masculine? Do you think that is masculine? Do you think, or do you consider that masculine in our community? You know, would you consider him a bottom? Would you consider him to be verse? Would you consider him to be a top? You know, and can you tell by just looking at someone their sexual position? You know, because some people assume. Some people would assume, you know, you see a guy, he's carrying a bag and, you know, he got some, you know, high heels on. We would assume that he's obviously a bottom. That's what we would all say. Maybe he might be a top. Could he be a top? Could he be a top? You know, could he be verse? Does he have to be a bottom? I want to know. I'm curious. Tony Talks. This has been another session of Tony Talks right here on YouTube. Please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please, please, please do not forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All at IamTony215. And until then, people, I love you all. I really, really do. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the compliments of the shows. I'm glad you guys are enjoying them. Some people have been reporting that they found them to be very helpful. And until then, people, I love you. God bless you. Peace.